British mysteries have held a special place in the hearts of readers and viewers worldwide for centuries. From the classic detective novels by Agatha Christie and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle to the numerous contemporary adaptations and completely new creations by various authors, the allure of these enigmatic tales has stood the test of time. In this video, we will try to deconstruct the captivating nature of the genre and find the reasons behind the enduring appeal of British mysteries.
The English enigma. I know not of any other game where even the players are unsure of the rules. Thank you, Miss Lemon.
Let's start with exploring the unique elements that make them so special. Imagine this picture, the typical English countryside, a charming village with beautiful blossoming garden in front of every house, a church, a vicar, and a small crowd of locals and occasional guests that get out of it after the Sunday Mass. Couldn't be more peaceful, right? Then why does this all turn out to be the perfect scene for murder then?
Whiskey?
Sorry, darling.
You fool!
It's a paradox, yet indeed one of the key factors that make British mysteries so captivating is their atmospheric setting. Those foggy London streets and grand manor houses serve as a perfect backdrops for these intriguing tales. The descriptions of these locations transport us to an entirely different world, evoking a sense of nostalgia and coziness. Such settings create a mood of anticipation and set the stage for the unraveling of intricate plots.
The wasteland.
I thought you liked the country.
But this is not the country, my friend. The country is full of trees and flowers and public houses. This is a desert.
Another thing that I've noticed is the occasional transfer of the whole plot to the new exotic location. An Eden-like island in the Mediterranean, a palatial-style hotel in the Orient, or the desert with archaeological sites and excavation, treasure hunting going on. These were the fashionable destinations back at the time when the whole genre of murder mystery was born and blossomed. In other words, in the last decade of the 19th century up until the late 1930s, and in particular in the so-called golden age of detective fiction, the period between the two world wars. One important notion though, the typical cast of characters must stay the same as if they are in the English countryside. So let's now look at the traditional pool of witnesses, victims and suspects. British mystery authors are renowned for their creation of complex and memorable characters, from ingenious detectives like Sherlock Holmes and Hercule Poirot to equally fascinating villains and supporting characters. These personas breathe life into the narratives. The interplay between the detective's deductive reasoning and the criminal's cunning schemes create an engaging dynamic that keeps us hooked until the very end.
I've never believed there's such a thing as the perfect murder. There'll always be something that doesn't quite fit.
So, in a typical murder mystery, you would find a genius type of mind detective. He or she might not look a detective at all, so even the most notorious villain would underestimate their detective abilities. Just think of it. Now, when we're asked to imagine a hypothetical detective, we would immediately think of someone like Sherlock or Poirot or even Marple, right? I mean, there would be these unattainable attributes like, say, a hat, a pipe, why not, a peculiar moustache, not for Marple, of course, some nerdy vibe, in other words. If we've met someone like that today, we'd immediately think that she or he is a wannabe detective.
Who's he? He's not English, is he? I'm begging your pardon.
He's Hercule Poirot, private detective.
Madame.
Oh, yeah, well, they all say that, don't they?
Yet back in the day, such looks and presence were not something unusual or extraordinary. Take Sherlock or Poirot, they might have been regarded as overly extravagant peacocks by their contemporaries, but not some serious minds with a stroke of genius. I'm not even talking about Marple, an elderly spinster, one of the myriads of look-alike ladies that lived in those cozy English villages. Not a detective at all. That's what made their character so, again, paradoxical.
Morning, sir. I've got a parrot with Mr. Poirot.
No. Poirot. It is pronounced Poirot.
I beg your pardon, Governor. I've got a Poirot with Mr. Poirot.
To support the counterintuitive effect, the authors would usually add some contrasting supporting characters. A somewhat naive yet very diligent companion like Hastings or Watson, for example, and a sometimes ridiculous and still utterly self-assured chief inspector. The more peculiar and unpredictable the consulting detective or amateur sleuth, the more typecast and straightforward the police inspector.
My pipe.
Oui, mais bien sûr. It is how you say your trademark. If I solve this case before you, I will have the pipe.
Very well. And what is your trademark, Monsieur Poirot?
I have a video about the supporting characters around Hercule Poirot. Don't miss it if you want to get a better idea of their personalities. Let's now look at the typical entourage. We do need to have an array of different witnesses, potential suspects and accomplices, right? Here the list of 5 to 10 personages may differ, yet I've noticed that here again as well would find another contrasting feature, be it a social class or occupation or age. So in a perfect British mystery, we would usually find someone old and wise and someone young and ambitious, someone filthy rich and someone hunting for that fortune, some duke or earl or countess, and a pair of eyes from downstairs who had seen everything and is now afraid to speak up.
You mentioned your name just now as if I should recognize it, but I can assure you, beyond the obvious facts, that you are a bachelor, a solicitor, and a Freemason, and an asthmatic. I know nothing about you whatever.
And yes, everyone would be British, but at least one character must be a foreigner. An American or, say, French, German or Russian, for example. This spice adds up some enigmatic veil or puzzle to the narration. So let's now look at this detail in particular.
Au revoir, Madame Farley.
You foreigner.
So at the heart of British mysteries lies the puzzle element. Readers are presented with a tantalizing mystery that challenges their intellect and encourages them to become amateur detectives themselves. The authors would, of course, provide subtle clues throughout the story, allowing readers to participate actively in solving the mystery alongside the main characters. This interactive aspect enhances the reading experience and leaves readers with a sense of satisfaction when they crack the case. A good detective would lead you through the path of changing your focus of suspicion with every new detail unfolding. You may even go the whole circle and end up with someone you thought was a killer right from the beginning, yet still get wrong.
My mind rebels at stagnation. Give me problems. Give me work.
The most attentive of you have noticed that I didn't include the murderer in the previous section about the characters. Well, indeed, in a good British mystery, everyone could become one. An earl and a servant, an old lady and a young student, even the one who invited the detective to crack the case.
Vicious-looking character, isn't he?
At the end of the day, we are all humans, aren't we? Anyone could have a motive of money, jealousy, resentment, or revenge, and no age, social rank, or anything could do much about human nature.
Human nature, Cherry dear. The world of the cinema, the village, it's all quite the same, really.
That's why the intellectual puzzles of British mysteries often turn out to be all about the psychological games we all play. And that's what makes them so appealing to a wider audience. And yes, you can't go through that intellectual challenge of cracking human nature without making some often bitter and sarcastic comments along the way.
I came to offer you some advice.
Oh my God! The League of Decency.
Which I hope might help in the difficult time ahead.
What are you talking about?
Did it occur to you that in addition to their entertainment value, British mysteries are also all about exploring, challenging and mocking the social issues and norms of their respective time? Through their plots and characters, authors subtly or rather directly critique various aspects of society, making their stories not only thrilling but also thought-provoking. The role of a woman in a traditional family, marriage and relationship inequality, family abuse, social classes, and other vestiges of the past. I noticed that these notions were indeed very subtle, like very light, high-level hints in those narrations centuries ago. And in today's incarnations of murder mysteries, they are way more emphasized and even sometimes take the center stage, leaving no room for a healthy dose of humor when approaching some serious matters. And that is actually another integral part of the genre.
Marina is coming to tea.
Who?
Marina is the greatest film star Belgium has ever produced.
I think she's the only film star Belgium's ever produced. I didn't even know they made films in Belgium.
Indeed, the good old British mysteries of the past often feature an element of wit and humor, even in the most serious cases. Authors infuse their narratives with clever dialogue and comedic relief, which balances the tension and keeps us engaged. This injection of humor also adds depth to the characters, making them more relatable and endearing to the audience.
Now you saw that, didn't you? Didn't you? Do you think anyone will believe us?
I guess that might be a nice instrument to detect the villain. He or she takes oneself too seriously, being in an insecure position. So watch the most no-nonsense looking guy, you never know.
Well, if they won't believe us, we'll just have to go and solve this crime ourselves, won't we?
So, would you now agree with me that British mysteries continue to stand the test of time due to their unique combination of atmospheric setting, full of paradox characters, intellectual puzzles centered around psychology and human nature, and of course sarcastic social commentary? Well, in addition, they could transport us to another day and another time, where we could find ourselves taking part in adventures that are thankfully rarely happening in real everyday life. So, we do not only read and watch, we participate, and that is priceless and timeless.
There's one for you, Chief Inspector.
Oh, thank you.
None for Mr. Poirot, because I read an article on the train how ice cream was extremely bad for the little grey cells.
And 2 for me, because mine are dead already.
I hope you enjoyed this video, so don't forget to like it, and why not subscribe to and explore my channel. I hope to see you in my other videos. Bye!